Right, here we go again. Thanks for joining me here on GF and Easy. I really do hope it's adding some value and some traction and anything that's going to help us on our little journey, because it ain't easy, right? Anyway, so I actually had a lot of fun in the last episode telling you about all them peaches. And I hope you get the message that people are going to be coming out of the woodwork, and you never know who's got the key to your locks. And you really just got to stay on it. All right. Well, today I want to give it a little just straight up advice. And this comes from experience. This comes from, doing it. And I know very well that, especially everybody's looking for some kind of, normalcy that they can, get a grip on. And that especially, in my world in particular, it was really hard putting shoes on and getting out to the store and doing anything. Came with significant layers of difficulty. Okay, so what I'm looking for to counter that is something that is going to work, right? And all of this is not working. So what we're looking for is like a stability. We're looking for a pattern that the child accepts, that the family can accept, that we can get stuff done with. And that is a hard-fought battle because we're up against variables, all kinds of things that we're just really not, we don't know until we're there. So there we are. We are in this like amidst a lot of chaos, emotional, God knows what we're all really going through, but it ain't easy. And we fight for a spot where we can like make it work. And it's hard to come by because, a lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error. I can only say it plainly. When you get to that place where it's doable, you must begin to consider how to destroy that and dismantle that. That cannot be the place where you rest. You must destroy it. And that doesn't make sense, right? Why did you build this to destroy it? You build this to create a stable foundation that you can operate from, but you really can't last there. A lot of people in our community wind up getting into a routine, which is blessed, thank goodness we have it, but it becomes the dictator. In the way that a lot of times people, regular people, if you will, if there's such a thing, we like our routines. We like things to be predictable. And now with, in my particular world, with cognitive and blah, blah, blah issues, it was curveball after curveball. So there's a lot of adaptation. You have to continue to adapt because otherwise the child's going to stagnate, and that's going to stagnate the family. That's going to keep the child from being challenged. Now, I know it's kind of messed up to say, of course, aren't they already challenged? Yeah, they are. But let's stop having a little bit of sympathy for them in that way. Let's look at them as somebody who needs to be challenged. You can't let these kids dictate. They are suffering. They are innocent. And they deserve everything, all of our support. But we cannot let them dictate terms. It is we who dictate terms. A lot of times their world, their needs, dictates. And I'm saying that's what you catch up to. You catch up to those needs in their world and dictate. And as soon as you've got them, you rip them into your world. You do not stay stuck in a routine. There's no satisfaction there. And so, one thing I'd like everybody to guard against, a lot of us have partners, okay? My spouse and my ex-spouse and I, there you have it, that's X. But I did speak to her the other day at great length. And we shared the impact of what it was like to not be able to focus on our own romance and our relationship. Our marriage became more of an institution of care, which is good and noble, don't get me wrong. It was the right idea. But because of the patterns we'd established, because of the not letting go of certain things, and maybe it was righteous too, because these certain things were working and we needed something to work. But there was a lot that got neglected, and that's what I would like the families to guard against. Let's not let this person or this issue with the person, rather, be what really does dictate. Now, it's dictated a lot of my actions, but it's not where I stopped. And that's the thing. I continue to grow, adapt, and with that, the child grow and adapt, right? I mean, you gotta step back, reach down, if you will, to catch them and be there for them. But at some point, you must bring them along with you and on and forward, because that's where the great fruit is. Hey, who's that in the back window? That's my guy. Anyway, so my ex Nicole and I were talking about how important. And we realized that a lot of the important work that needed to be done in the marriage was being turned towards the children, and that's never wrong. But it did have an impact that we're no longer married. And it's certainly not because of the kid. It's because we didn't do the kind of work that does keep a marriage together. When they're talking about the bond, we had a mission, but the changed. It changed the relationship. And looking back, it didn't have to always be that, just like that. It could have been where basically we communicated better, and maybe we made time for each other a little more. And again, that goes right back to, you can't let the child and the issue of the child or person, whatever, be the dictator. You have to, as soon as you get that grip, you establish the grip, let it become fully formed, and then dismantle it. And the dismantling is what we'll call growth. But you just can't hold a bag and expect to stay light and adaptable. Sometimes you just have to drop things, even though they're working. You have to let that go, let it evolve. So it was just occurred to me that how often our families get into a rut, and I was there. But how often we get into a rut, and that is a level of success to some degree, because it takes a while to get there, if you even manage to get there. So just remember, and I know I said this before, not to neglect the other things in your life, and this is an echo of that. And I'm telling you where the trap is. I'm telling you the trap is repetitive. And while a lot of people give advice to say that that's what these kids need, what they need is stability, not necessarily repetitive. Repetitive helps for teaching, for grinding it in. Of course, it helps. But the consistency, and we've had a lot of changes. We've moved. We've had things change a lot. And a lot of people have said, wow, Sean is very adaptable. It's like, because we are adaptable. It really begins, up here and then follow through in here. And gosh, I know I've said that before. Everybody knows the formula. Very few people do it. I'm telling you where the trap is, so you could not have to let these things happen. You communicate. You have to make time for each other. You have to make special time for your other children too, where the issues just don't exist. Take them to the movies and leave Junior behind, or whoever behind find a way. And then, of course, spend time with your spouse. I mean, gosh, the things that you all go through together just to make the day work. I mean, I know what I did, and I know what my wife did, and I know what happened. So surely it's happening for other people. Don't ever forget about that, and know that effort comes from your heart. Don't forget about each other, and it's so easy to do, because there's going to be a lot of differing opinions. There's going to be a lot of people who've got ideas, and people want to help, and you want that, but it's hard, right? So again, this is just a little nod towards pay attention. Don't let the communication drop out. Whoop, there's Sean. Don't let the communication drop out, and don't let routine be the life. Let the routine establish the foundation, and then let that foundation be the place where you elevate from. And that's that. Okay, so just a little advice. Be aware, communicate, and know that this fight is it's not just what your life is. Make more, and don't ignore those things. And it's hard to find the energy and space for it, but do it. All right, thanks. I just wanted to get a little advice out there. It was occurred to me, and I'm looking forward to the next couple episodes. I'm trying to work out how I'm going to talk about all the cycling that we did, because that really, really, really established faith and fun. And who's ready for that with Dad and Mom? Faith and fun? Yes, everybody. So that going on, and I did have the great pleasure of speaking with one of Sean's teachers who was there when really began to see the results of positive change. And you're going to hear about it from someone who's not me for now. Anyway, that's what's coming up. Thank you very much. Lately I've posted some shorts of Sean jumping in the pool. Thanks.